And welcome to Progressive Action News. Welcome to the new and improved Progressive Action News. Like I said, I'm going to be giving you guys a whole entire new look on how we do things here at Progressive Action. And we're going to break into some news, brief news, before we get into our main ingredient, which is a special guest I will say later. We're going to say it later. But as you can see, Biden gave a State of the Union address yesterday. And it was discussing his plans for the United States. You want to know what? Let's give it a listen. Why not? Let's give it a listen.
Cities, states, and counties can use to hire more police, invest in more proven strategies. Proven strategies like community violence interruption, trusted messengers, breaking the cycle of violence and trauma, and giving young people some hope. We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police, it's to fund the police. Fund them. Fund them. Fund them with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities. I ask Democrats and Republicans alike to pass my budget and keep our neighborhoods safe. And we'll do everything in my power to crack down on gun trafficking, of ghost guns that you can buy online, assemble at home, no serial numbers, can't be traced. I ask Congress to pass proven measures to reduce gun violence. Pass universal background checks. Why should anyone on the terrorist list be able to purchase a weapon? Why? Why? And folks,
Now, I'm not gonna lie. This whole thing was funny. It was like he was saying, look, my name is Joe Biden. Everybody clapped. I used to be the VP for Obama. Everybody clapped. He could have said, my wife got her period. The people would have clapped. But this is America, ladies and gentlemen. Biden, in my opinion, didn't say anything extraordinary. And it's not about what they say. It's about what they do. Now, let's get into our next set of news with the Target. I don't know if you guys heard of this, but let's put it on the screen. Target says it will raise its minimum wage as high as $24 per hour this year, depending on the local market. Companies have been raising pay and benefits in an effort to keep and attract workers. The retail giant currently pays a $15 per hour starting wage, but said Monday that it will begin paying workers wages ranging from $15 to $24. You hear that? The starting rate would depend on the job, the market, and local wage data, amongst other factors. The wage increase is part of a $300 million investment in pay and benefits. The company also said it will expand employee access to health care. That's amazing. Hourly employees who work an average of at least 25 hours a week will become eligible for a Target medical plan. Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. And for all my transit co-workers out there, listen to that. Target workers will be making more money than you. Now, this is the moment that I have been waiting for. I'm more than ecstatic to interview this next guest. But let me get into something real quick. Let's talk about him. Bronx-born, Florida-raised Hi-Rez, a 28-year-old hip-hop artist, is known for his conscious, meaningful lyrics. Having moved to South Florida at a young age, Rez music is the perfect balance of New York rhymes and South Florida bounce. With 5 mixtapes under his belt, a debut album, In a decade of experience and dedication in the music industry, he has proven he is capable of growing and sustaining a loyal fan base. Hi-Rez has been on numerous national tours, both headlining and supporting, with artists like King Los, Corey Guns, Riff Raff, G-Eazy, and more. Hi-Rez has teamed up with fellow recording artist Jimmy Levy to create the soundtrack for the freedom movement around the world, and I'm proud to say I am a part of that movement. Let's take a quick look at his video, This Is War, right here, right now.
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war.
This is a war that we living through, never reveal to you that they also leaving killing you. They don't tell you what the hell you agreeing to, sheeping and hurting you, don't know who leading you. Keep on proceeding to follow, your mind is so hollow. Are you being coddled by government, swallowing up everything that the media tell you without a question or a problem? All of the sheep being slaughtered, they poison the water, removing the father, ain't trusting these daughters, ignoring blue collar, keep printing the dollar, ain't washing your sons and your daughters, ain't got any honor. If I'm being honest, I just ain't picking this side, but I'm gonna ride for my freedom and die for my freedom and question the government lies. A lot on my mind, it's so little time, gotta think all of us needing a sign. The devil he hides, an ego and pride, they sell, then they paying the price. God won't give you more than you can handle. Government should be dismantled. Every politician got a scandal. Prepare for the war, we going to battle.
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war.
I'd rather be red pill, get killed, than ignorant living and meet that still. Don't stand up for something, you falling for nothing. Don't wait till the world that we know fall ill. This is the revelation of our generation, losing civilization. I'm the Terminator, just to liberate us with our dedication. For the Terminator, fuck your medication. The administration cannot alienate us or exterminate us. I just keep on praying for your salvation. You are outdated, society becoming outrageous. Keep your house painted for the firstborn, the angel of death in its worst form. We being scorned, look out for their horns. Remember, this isn't their first war. They coming prepared, so just be aware. They do not want to hear none of your prayers. This is a war that ain't playing fair. They feed off your fear, they wanting you scared. Death and despair, it's all in the air. Just be aware, you think I care? The more that you know, the more that it's clear. This is a war, it's already here.
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war. Home of the slave, till the crickets make a sound. Where's the bold and the brave? We all have to stand.
My brother, Hi-Rez, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Look, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. Your music, man. Let me tell you the story real quick. I was marching across the Brooklyn Bridge, and it wasn't the first time I heard the song. I always liked the song, but it was something when This Is a War came on the Brooklyn Bridge. My brother Paul, he had actually FaceTimed Jimmy and said, "Jimmy, look what's happening." Right. And man, it was so good, man. Like,
thank you,
man. So inspirational. So I would like to know what encouraged you to write that song, and how did you link up with Jimmy on that record?
Right. So I met Jimmy probably a year ago, which is crazy because I feel like I've known him for a long time. We ended up having a bunch of mutual friends, which made that relationship a lot smoother, especially in the industry. It's not easy to trust people and work with people, or any industry, but especially entertainment. But Jimmy and I just like the stars aligned. Like, it almost felt like what was going on in his life and what was going on in my life was exactly the same. I feel like the last 2 years have brought strong people together and weak people together. So it's like, if you were already traditionally like kind of a weak-minded human being, then you just found a bunch of other weak people to congregate with. If you were a pretty strong, independent, type of person. You found some other people to congregate with. And I think that's the scenario that happened with me and Jimmy. And as far as, the hook, this is a war on religion, a war on tradition, war on the children. That's just what we felt was going on. We made that record in less than an hour, like right in the studio there. We didn't have anything planned. We had kind of like a rough beat ready to go. And I told Jimmy just the concept that I wanted to do. I was just like, yo, let's talk about this spiritual war going on. And he knew exactly what I was talking about because he's on that wavelength. And then we just started making the record very fast. It came together. So, for it to be kind of that first soundtrack to, this revolution right now, I'm inspired, for us. It's crazy. People are inspiring me back just by telling me they're inspired. So
now, I was blessed to see you guys perform in DC. That was like a once in a lifetime thing. I seen how the crowd went crazy. I even seen people crying when you guys were done. People wiping tears from their faces. What is the motivation for you to create this type of music? Like, what drives Hi-Rez to say, this is what I want to do? Because I've seen videos of you saying that if I was rapping like this, people would be acting like this. But now you're rapping, I mean, it's God's work, if you ask me.
Yeah.
What drives you to make this type of music now?
I think I've been doing this probably since 13, 14 years old. I am 28 now. So I would say like seriously for a decade, but I've been doing it over a decade. And every year or every few years, as you would expect, people's lives change, their inspirations change, their goals change. And my most recent thing would be like children. Like I'm realizing, okay, I'm getting to an age, I'm in a good relationship, thank God, and I'm ready to have children. So it's one of those things where it's like I wouldn't want my children. That's really what it is. I saw my friends have kids. I realized I'm about to have kids, and I'm like, I don't really want my kids to grow up, having to be told they got to wear a mask, when they're healthy, or having to be told, we got this whole thing, innocent until proven guilty. So why we've been treated like we're all sick until we're proven not to be sick? This shit doesn't make sense to me. So, that's kind of the situation I'm in as far as the last 2 years. It's really been about my future children, future generations, grandchildren. I don't want these kids growing up and, just looking around and being developmentally disabled as far as, seeing their teachers with masks and their friends and their peers and their psychiatrists. And, I saw like my family, who I grew up not really religious, but we definitely believed in God, and we definitely grew up going to, religious ceremonies and we participated in religious events. But, I noticed in recent times, my parents were like, oh, we're going to do the Zoom one. We're going to hop on Zoom for the holidays. And I'm just like, yo, what? Like, and the same thing with therapists. It's like myself and other people, who my close ones, like close family, they're like, oh, well, I'm just on the therapy call, my therapist. I'm like, yo, what? Like we had liquor store open, but therapists weren't taking sessions. We had strip clubs open, but you go to your AA meeting. This shit doesn't make sense, bro. And that felt very orchestrated and calculated to me. And, I never found myself on the right side of politics as far as calling myself a conservative or calling myself Republican or any of that. But, it doesn't feel very liberal to me for anybody to be agreeing with segregation or mandates or forced medical, tyranny, what it's been. And that kind of drove me away from the left in recent times. And like I said, I'm not married to any political party, but until liberals start acting like liberals, in my opinion, it's going to be tough for me to get back to that point in my life.
Now, I'm in the same boat as you. Well, I grew up thinking that the Democratic Party was for people like myself, the working, black people, want to say that. And I come to find out that has been a lie. And this whole thing, the past 2 years have exposed that and opened up my eyes. It's like, I feel like a conservative. Like, they have me feeling like, just because I'm thinking right, I'm a conservative.
Right.
Now, I seen the other day, pictures of you at CPAC. What was the importance of you going to CPAC, or what did you learn there or didn't learn, or was it a good experience?
I would say I learned a lot less than I learned, and this is not to sound disrespectful. It's kind of, we actually had this little conversation before we went live. I think it's important for the conservative movement, the freedom movement, whether you're Republicans or not, whatever it is, I think it's important for them to use entertainment to their advantage, because if you went there, you realized there was no rap music, there was no hip hop, there was no music in general. It was kind of a bunch of old stuffy politicians just shaking hands and kissing babies and like trying to get reelected for shit. So, you know, that kind of pissed me off. Like I kind of went to like just see the climate and see what it was going to be about and see who was who and what was what. I didn't really go for any other reason other than just kind of like, you know, seeing what's up. And I definitely was disappointed to a degree because I have such high expectations for this new age, like you just said, you know, this kind of disenfranchised group of people that didn't feel like they're really Republicans or feel like they're Democrats, but they've been kind of pushed right. And, you know, I went to this event and I didn't feel like welcomed or feel like a part of this at all. And, you know, when we were in DC, that to me felt great. That felt epic. That felt like people of all walks of life, both parties, vaccinated, unvaccinated, people coming together for a good time, for a greater good. And that to me is what I've been wanting to be a part of. And I think this was just another kind of event that I wanted to tag along and see if that energy would be there. And I didn't feel it. Hopefully in the future, somebody younger and more hip and understanding of this new wave can get a hold of that.
Yeah, and I agree. DC was a wonderful, very wonderful experience. And but like I said, like for me, subscribing to a political party, I'm done with that. I'm subscribing to free thinking.
Right.
And it seemed like your music is edging towards that too. You know, like, you know, think for yourself. Now let me ask you, have you faced any backlash vocalizing the situations that we're going through now as Americans?
Yeah, so it was a lot more at the beginning, like I would say March 2020. You know, I started just like kind of saying like, yo, do y'all think this is a little bit weird? Like, do you think there's like two things going on here? And they're like, no, there's just one thing going on. I'm like, all right, there's no such thing as one thing going on ever. There's always three sides to a story, yours, mine, and the true side. So, you know, for me to just kind of bring up the fact that, you know, multiple opinions and multiple avenues and ideologies existed, I already kind of got backlash. And then I would delete things and take things down and kind of backtrack and take 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. But eventually, I would say about a year ago, when we started seeing like, oh, you can't go on a cruise if you're not vaccinated. Oh, you can't come in this restaurant. Oh, you can't buy. Then I started it just was obvious to me. It was like I said, you know, traditional liberalism, which is what I grew up with and what I was around and what I saw, like you said, Democrat Party, Democrat household, CNN, all that was on constantly. And I grew up accepting of others, everyone, gay, straight, Black, all religion, races. And that's how I am, you know, that's how I'm built. So to me, I don't stop when it comes to medical, you know what I mean? I don't stop and be like, well, that person has AIDS, keep him over there. Well, that person is not back, keep him over there. I didn't stop. If I accepted race, religion, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, if I accepted that and have accepted, you know, these differences my whole life, why would I just, how could I be brainwashed to stop at medical choices or medical, you know, your bodily, you know what I mean? Like it made no sense to me. So that's kind of where I drew the line, man.
So how have the social media gods been to you?
Terrible. Yeah. It's like you said earlier, the video you brought up where it's like if I was rapping about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, which I have, you know, plenty of times in my life, because that's, you know, whatever I was experiencing or going through is what I was rapping about most of the time. And or I was flexing or lying or doing whatever rappers were doing, whatever I was doing at the time. But when I was doing that, you know, I was getting label deals and I had no problem. And I worked with distribution companies and I never had a problem with social media. No posts have ever got taken down. I've done videos with literally naked women that haven't been taken down. This is many, many moons ago when I was younger. And, you know, God forbid you speak up about God. God forbid you speak up about freedom and you know, choosing your destiny. You know, these are somehow that makes you, like you said, you know, people, you're a white supremacist as a Black man now. I'm a Nazi as a Jew. So shit doesn't make sense, man.
All right, so let's jump back into the music real quick. I heard that this song charted on the Billboard charts. Is that true?
Yeah, so all of mine and Jimmy records were number 2 or 3. I don't think we got a number 1 yet. I'm sure that'll come. But they've been number 1 all over iTunes, which is physical, which is actual sales, digital sales and physical sales. But yeah, all 3 of Jimmy and I's records have been within the top 2 or 3 of Billboard, and we're gonna make an album soon too. So we got a lot of stuff going on.
I don't think the people know how hard it is to chart,
Right.
and independently at that, and
Right.
not going along with the go along get along gang when it comes to like sex, money, and drugs and music.
Right. Yeah, it's not easy. Going back to what I said a second ago, when I was, kind of getting these accolades, and I was nominated for XXL Freshman when I was like 18. I did all this. I was signed to Sony when I was 19. I was in the industry, really moving around and being pushed around from office to office and being paraded around like a little music industry slave. And I didn't really have a lot of views I had no money. I had no accolades, like seriously, I had no Billboard records. I had nothing. So go figure, as soon as I ditch all that, my blessings start pouring in, and I don't think that's an accident.
I don't think so either. Now, you did mention that you and Jimmy are coming out with, can we say like a best of both worlds? Or I think y'all share the same world though.
Right.
Ideology.
Yeah, definitely.
Your ideology.
Yeah, we're definitely very similar religious-wise. We're similar with our beliefs for the most part. Obviously, people have their differences in opinion, as far as just small things here and there. But yeah, we are pretty much similar.
Yeah, man. Listen, I can't wait for that to drop. Could you let the people know where they can follow you at for right now before the social media gods get crazy on you?
Right. Yeah, Hi-Rez, Hirez, Hi-Rez the rapper, The rapper. So Hi-Rez the rapper everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'm just Hi-Rez, Hirez. You can find me. You could probably find me anywhere if you just type in Hirez. Maybe not, because I'm sure they'll give you 10 parody accounts before me now and 10 fake accounts and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, Hirez is where you can find me everywhere.
Anything you want to leave the listeners with before we jump off?
Just as long as you keep God first, as long as you keep positivity, faith, as long as you keep pushing, keep hustling, keep moving, and just keep your head in the right place, everything's gonna be well, gonna be right. Look out for your kids, look out for your grandkids. Don't just take things at face value. Question everything. Don't subscribe to Fox, don't subscribe to CNN. Be willing to change your opinions, if they need to be changed. So I appreciate y'all.
Hi-Rez, don't go nowhere. Give me 1 second. Thanks for tuning in to the Progressive Action News Show. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll catch you guys soon.